Live streaming is on.
Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is December the 6th, 2019. Strong hand. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Value your wealth in Bitcoin. Offended by selling. Unconfiscatable. Okay, dudes, we got some newbies and we got some oldies. We got everything here. Adam Paul Moore is making his debut. He's rocking it. Ken Bozak, he's here this week. He's made his comeback. And Alex, you can't see him, but he's here. And guess what? Someone's got this show on in the background, so turn it down because we got a little bit of an echo. All right. So hello, my elite friends. Good to see you today. So we're going to start off with something we talked about earlier in the week, an inspirational tweet by Adam, which is linked to below. And again, that Adam, not this Adam. All I'm saying is look at the price of Bitcoin, then compare that with the amount of Twitter, Reddit, real-life conferences, etc., interest in Bitcoin. The two don't match up. If all these people talking about Bitcoin actually held bags, the price would be greater than $100,000. So, dude, there are not as many holders of last resorts out there, are there?
No, I think the people are waiting on the sidelines, or they're interested in it, and they may think that they're into Bitcoin because they have like $100 worth or $200 worth. But if you take a look at the total number of people on Bitcoin Twitter, and that's just a small subset of the Bitcoin space and the cryptocurrency space in general. And then you take a look at what the price is. I mean, we only have 21 million Bitcoins. And I mean, I understand, like all the Bitcoins that are out there are accounted for. And somebody mentioned that. But if you really had hodlers of last resort, I'm not selling my coins at all. Like, even if Bitcoin went to $100,000 tomorrow, I'm still holding on to them for at least another 10 years because I understand the value proposition of it. So my not fear, or my assumption is that most people are actually they're into Bitcoin, but they're waiting until really hyper Bitcoinization is going to take off. Then they'll get in as soon as they can, and then try to ride it to the top, as opposed to tying up the capital now. I have already allocated the capital I'm going to allocate, other than just like a monthly DCA amount, and that's where I'm at right now. So I'm happy with what I'm holding. And I'm going to keep on holding. So those Satoshis are off the market completely.
Yeah, and they're not, and you have no plans of. But the problem is we had a lot of guys going back and forth, tethering it up, doing all sorts of things. And I don't. And if only they were not. If only everyone had the planning and treated it as a savings account. Alex, your thoughts on this?
In what sense?
On the sense that are there a lot of people talking a big game out there that aren't really holding? I mean,
probably. I just don't know if there's any. I don't know if you can actually measure that kind of data. So who knows? Maybe there isn't. Maybe there is. I wouldn't have a clue.
So the other possibility that I think is it's possible that like Trace has the Satoshi run. January 3rd. And I think that it's possible that some of the exchanges are actually playing fast and loose with their actual reserves. And so it's all paper trading, and it's not real. I mean, obviously I can't prove that, but
that's what we need.
I think that's a real possibility. And I don't think we should discount that.
That is what's going on. That's what proof of keys is going to be about. And we will talk about that. I mean, that will expose definitely that there some of these guys they say they're trading Bitcoin over there, but you don't know if you have it until you really control your private key. People are going to learn the hard way. Ken, you tried to say something in there.
I don't know what I was saying, but I was thinking of saying it could be the other way around. Also, you were talking individual weak hands, but institutional strong hands also are happening where they're getting into this and not day trading it as much as just accumulating it. Even corporations are starting to acquire Bitcoin in the sense of for security reasons, for ransomware. Recently, even like airports was just hacked for Bitcoin ransomware, and European companies have publicly stated that they're hodling Bitcoin in case they get hit with ransomware, and it's not like they're day trading it. So I like to think that there's institutional level of strong hands out there as well. We don't have to just look at the individuals.
Yeah, but I think, again, I think Adam's point was that a lot of people are talking like if all the people that talked a big game really held it, really had strong hands, I don't think the price would be what it is right now.
But even Andrea Constantopoulos doesn't live all in on Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a great point. Pound that like button, people. He talks all the time that he's spending it all the time. I mean, that's I mean, you'd spend all the time too, Ken. That's your thing. You're not
I'm all in.
You're living your life off of crypto. And I think more people than we think are you're not doing what you're doing, but just not really holding it. Some of these big talkers out there, but we'll see. I guess the reason I'm such a holder of last resort, I just wish there were more. I wish every personality out there in the space had a really.
Well, there's no price in which I would sell my Bitcoin, as in like all in or selling to make profits from. By the time that point comes, there would be nothing to sell my Bitcoin for, because there's no more US dollar. If anything, it'd be paired to gold, and I'd be trading it for that.
Well, let's
so Ken's living in his own personal hyper Bitcoinization right now. And that's great. If that's where you're at.
It's a beta nightmare.
No, keep going, Adam.
I'm saying, if you're at that point now where you're earning your living in Bitcoin, that's amazing. And you're actually going to be paying a fee to go back and forth, unfortunately.
I make money going back and forth every time.
Okay. Well, that's the game I need to get into.
Anybody can get paid in Bitcoin, by the way. If you work at McDonald's and you get direct deposit, you can get paid directly in Bitcoin. Bitwage, you set up an account with Bitwage, and they give you an account number, a routing number. You give that to your employer, and your direct deposit is instantly sent to a Bitcoin address that you provide. So you have the keys, and you get paid in Bitcoin. I did that back in 2016.
How have I never even heard of this? And I'm on Twitter like hours ago.
Bitwage. Check it out, guys.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Alex, you're a guy that in Australia, at least, that lets people. I got to let you get in a plug right now. That lets people buy. I mean, this kind of blends into what you do at Amber App. So talk about Amber App real quick for the Australian people.
Yeah, well, I guess really simply is whether you get paid directly in Bitcoin or whether you just earn dollars and convert it to Bitcoin actually doesn't make much of a difference. At the end of the day, outside of the exchange fee that you're going to pay, which is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as competition heats up, getting Bitcoin isn't as hard as it used to be. And what we're doing with Amber is just making that simpler. So, download the freaking app, link your bank account. If you get paid weekly, just tell the app to swap an amount of dollars for Bitcoin every week. If you get paid fortnightly, do it fortnightly. If you get paid monthly, do it monthly. Whatever the hell you want to do, you just tell the app to do it for you. And it takes the stupid out of you trying to time the market or whatever other, ridiculous notion that as a human being you might have. So, just shut up and, let the app buy the Bitcoin for you.
Australians. Yeah. That's key there. Okay, so all these dudes are linked to below. You can find out more about Amber App also through Alex. And there's something else that Alex is doing that he's going to talk about that I was not that familiar with. So I'm pretty excited. We got some news. But before we get into that, there are people in the chat. If you have questions, we actually will answer it this time. You can just.
I don't know who's in the chat keeps talking about Hex. That's just a scam, bro.
You're falling for it, Ken. It's noise. It's noise. That's I usually.
And you have a moderator in the chat. They should
there's no moderator in the chat. What happened? That whole thing works. That the way that spread that crypto dividend that you should just get for free and turn into Bitcoin. They got people here and there that just bring it up and then hope that it gets brought up on air. So
No, it's not free. You're giving up your
well,
public
yeah, again, so we want
that shit ain't free at
yeah,
all. Your data and private information comes at a cost. There is a value associated to the cost that you are paying for this Bitcoin hex.
Yes,
you're buying it. You are buying it.
Unfortunately, the thing is, the way he's got it worked out is that you even saying negative things about it just brings more attention to it. So we're not talking. It wasn't scheduled to be talked about today, and so we're not going to talk about it. But that guy people can yell about it in the chat if they want to. That's where the chat can be a cesspool sometimes, and that definitely is a cesspool related thing that's going on. But moving on from that. I do want to say, other people in the chat, you can ask your questions. Just type in Bitcoin Meister, and we will answer that. But there was someone in the chat I saw beforehand that said they didn't think, or I thought I saw, they didn't think proof of keys was going to work as well this time. I think it might bring down an exchange. I really think that. I think Trace, he's doing it very professionally. He's, first of all, proof of keys, to anyone that doesn't know, is a Trace Mayer initiative, and it's just trying to educate people. You can't keep your Bitcoin on these exchanges. Take it off now. Do it by January 3rd, which is that's the 11-year anniversary of Bitcoin. So I'm spreading the word here. I'm sure everyone's trying to spread the word. So is this news of the week? It's news of the month, because we're a month away. We're a little bit under a month away now. So I don't know. I actually think it might really do something this time. Like maybe a minor exchange could be brought down, and that would be great, because people would learn the hard way and be like,
not even brought down, but the amount of people that could be saved. Exchanges exiting overnight with $90 million worth of volume, for daily volume. That's a lot of money that could be lost in just one day. So the amount of people that could be saved from some kind of event like that, it's better than, I guess, like the negative side of saying bring down an exchange. I'd rather say save the traders, or save the people that are, unfortunately dumb enough to hold on an exchange.
Yeah, that is the positive take on it. That is the bottom line. Everyone, get your stuff off these exchanges. Whatever you got, they're not for storage. We've had 9 major hacks this year. All right, Adam, anything on proof of keys you want to say?
Well, the only thing way it would work is if it was kind of a coordinated, not attack, but a coordinated run from one particular exchange. Because suppose an exchange is really playing fast and loose with the reserves, right? And suppose they're trading half. They only have half of what they say they have. You would have to have 51% in order to bring down the exchange. And lots of exchanges have already said that, like, they have a hot wallet and they have cold wallets, and their hot wallets only 1 or 2% or something like that.
Yep.
So so you could potentially erroneously bring down an exchange. Like, an exchange could be 100% reserve, but yet have everything in cold storage, and then they have to cut off withdrawals. But that's a security measure. So I love the idea. I have the only Bitcoin I have on exchange right now is on Cash App that I've DCA'd. So that'll be coming off, but it's hard to tell if it actually works. I think the educational aspect of it is the more important thing. But you're right. If we had another Mt. Gox situation, or another big exchange that collapsed, I think we're still actually reaping the benefit of Mt. Gox, because you have people that are aware that a lot of exchanges are not regulated, they're overseas or whatever, and you need to be eternally vigilant so that you're not your keys, not your coins.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's those quote unquote legitimized exchanges that don't matter if they're overseas or not, like with that Mt. Gox level of notoriety. Even what was it, Quadriga was the Canadian exchange, and that was a pretty damn legit. It was like Canada's Coinbase, and they just straight up gone with all their money.
That was really like Canada's. I don't know. I didn't know the way that they
had a lot of money on that stupid little exchange, man. I felt bad because it was like common sense. But then you look at how much money's on Coinbase, and just because they seem like the legitimate exchange that they are, it doesn't matter how legit you are. If those Bitcoin are hacked, they're gone. Doesn't matter if Coinbase was legit or not.
Well, it's people's confidence in the government regulation. They think it's so super regulated. That Coinbase is, and it is. I mean, apparently they follow every rule.
If Coinbase gets hacked, we are gonna bail them out. Just like if the banks lose money, we bail them out. That's that's exactly what will happen.
Pound that like button. That's a really good point. that would be interesting to see if a Coinbase or Gemini like exchange actually got hacked.
Taxpayers will pay for it, guaranteed.
That would be horrific.
But it might I mean,
tell me it wouldn't happen with the level of institutional backers they have. They're not too big to fail, but they're too big not to get some type of Hail Mary help if something were to happen.
That's a good possibility.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I just hope it doesn't. I mean, yeah. Well, I hope it doesn't happen because
every exchange hack is an inside job, bro. So hack in quotes, hack in quotes. It's always an inside job at some level, always and forever. It's never been hacked. You've been robbed by a level of some form of employee at some base.
That's true. It's someone gave away a secret to someone outside, so they were able to steal everything.
Even if it's not intentional, they had their phone hacked because they were on a shitty Wi-Fi network, and because they were in charge of the hot wallets, and 3 out of 4 of the keys the users were hacked. That's all they needed for the multi-sig.
Yeah, man, Ken is speaking some truth here about the freaking. This should wake everybody up. It's still keeping their stuff on there. This would just be a scared straight. Segment. I want to get Alex in here though about this type of thing. Australians, are they still doing this, man? Are they still keeping their Bitcoin on exchanges? Your thoughts on proof of keys?
Look, for me, I don't keep stuff on exchanges because I'm more experienced. I actually think most people shouldn't store their own stuff, not until they know more about how to do it effectively. I've actually seen more people lose Bitcoin from their own incompetence than from someone else's incompetence. So I'm going to take the alternative view just to play devil's advocate. But most people are more retarded than the employees that are working at potentially ridiculous exchanges. So what you'll find is more Bitcoin has been lost because people are dumb, as opposed to Bitcoin lost from exchange hacks. I would argue that that's probably the reality. So I would put a strong caveat. I agree with what Adam said earlier about, exchanges that, are 100% reserve. They have things in place like, cold storage amounts and all that sort of stuff to ensure that, funds are kept safe. And having a run on an exchange that is doing that might make it look like the fucking exchange is illiquid or doing, playing funny buggers, when in reality it's not the case. So that's one thing that we need to be, cognizant of. And then the other part is that people shouldn't pull their stuff off exchanges unless they know how to properly back everything up. I mean, the amount of people that I know that, I got a ledger. And then the 24 words that, that come with a ledger, they've got that in their fucking top drawer. I'm pretty sure the fucking exchange is going to be more secure than that. So, because let's say accidentally they decide to wash their clothes and the fucking 24 words go into the washing machine, and then they don't know and they think they've got their fucking ledger. So I actually think, I'm not a huge fan of the whole January 3rd push, because I just don't it reminds me of, ideas like, equality is great. And then people run off with the fucking idea without, questioning it any deeper. For example, not understanding the difference or the nuance between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. So, these things are nice in principle, but they need to be more deeply thought through.
There is an educational initiative around it too. It's not just take your keys off, take your coins off, learn how to store it too. He is trying to do that. So that you make a very important point. If you can't just blindly take everything off. If you've been keeping your stuff on there for 2 years and you never learned how to do it, then you're going to be prone to making a big mistake. You got to learn how to do it. But no, I do like the other side that we don't have the measurements, but more Bitcoins probably has been lost through people just not storing it properly. And
3 to 4 million Bitcoin are currently considered lost or dead Bitcoin because of the inactivity.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you know that jumped into a pool, right, with their phone in the early days? Like, man, the amount of people I know that lost Bitcoin in the early days, holy crap. Like, anyway, I just think we, instead of running around and just, making blanket claims, we just need to think a little bit deeper.
This is a good point. Good point. And again, there's also an educational program with this. Hopefully, Trace will actually be on the show next Thursday. So I'll have to bring that. I'll have to bring this aspect of it up with him. So this is good. I like this. I like any thoughts on what Alex just said, you guys?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask a question to the group. Like, what do you guys think of these exchanges blacklisting stolen Bitcoin and freezing it on their exchanges when the Bitcoin enters that exchange? And how I believe that that's a form of like, I look at when an exchange is hacked as some form of a false flag event. And how are they going to utilize this in what way to manipulate the population? And now we see these exchanges saying that they're going to freeze Bitcoin that have been considered stolen Bitcoin from that exchange and basically steal it. So if you were to, for some reason, in some way, become in possession of these Bitcoin and go onto an exchange to trade it for something else, you're going to lose your money because you got stolen goods.
Yeah, that's antithetical to the whole essence of what Bitcoin is supposed to be. So,
Exactly.
I a big middle finger to those guys, because the whole point of Bitcoin is, don't get me started, because I'm going to start swearing and I'm not allowed to swear. So,
You swear so much, I'm about to make it a drinking game.
Don't
Sorry,
worry. He's doing his best. He's from Australia. Pound that like button. No, keep going. Keep going with Alex. Keep going.
It's just, I mean, they're playing God with other people's money. So they're not like, I remember Chainalysis reached out to us at Amber saying, oh, we want to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, where to stick it and which building to jump off. So like, first things first, like, if you're going to go and use an exchange, have a look at, who they work with and all of that. Like, no exchange on the planet should work with Chainalysis. No exchange on the planet has the right to look at, where that money came from, or, all that. Get the hell out of here. Like, we're not, we're trying to rebuild finance and money and make it free, flat, and open, not just reinvent the same crap that, we're bound by at the moment. So yeah, man, I don't know, that stuff really, 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 really gets me worked up, because nobody's got the right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your money, and particularly when something is fungible and digital as Bitcoin is, and you coming into possession of something that, whether it's allegedly stolen or allegedly come from what somebody thinks is a black market, or darknet or whatever, that's just somebody's opinion first and foremost. But irrespective, like, these Chainalysis companies and all of these guys, that they can't really ascertain what's what or who's who, and you're gonna end up with people effectively having their Bitcoin confiscated by some moron exchange trying to play God. I tried really hard then not to swear. Did I swear?
You did. No, you did well. And I want to say not a lot of people are putting the middle finger up to Chainalysis, because they just had to fire like 30 people or something.
Yeah,
let a lot of people. So that was good news, that maybe that business model isn't working out too well for them, the spying on people model. But again, to avoid having a blacklisted, your Bitcoin blacklisted, you can go to BISC if you need to buy some altcoin. You're not going to get blacklisted there.
Well,
but
first, actually, yeah. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm going to interject there. First of all, don't sell your Bitcoin.
Yes.
Second of all, don't touch crap coins. We know what the real word for that is.
Yes.
Third of all, follow step 1 and step 2.
Well, I'm saying, like, the real hazard here is the concern people are going to have when purchasing Bitcoin OTC peer-to-peer and not going through that deity channel, is they're going to be worried about getting blacklisted Bitcoin and it be worthless because they can't use it anywhere. Even merchant services are starting to have issues with accepting Bitcoin. I can't remember the name of the service, but it basically tumbles Bitcoin
The mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them. I can't think of it now either.
CoinJoin.
CoinJoin. There
Yeah,
you go.
they're having a lot of issues accepting CoinJoin Bitcoin at merchant side retailers because a lot of their services are saying that those Bitcoin could potentially be malicious, so they're not acceptable.
The best thing to do is just to taint every single Bitcoin in existence, and then we don't have a problem.
Yep,
Good point.
Yep, 100%. Either taint every single Bitcoin, or we see the rise of products like BTC Pay Server that just don't care, and that's what we need more of. We need less BitPays. We need more BTC Pay Servers.
Yeah, Ken, I think you're bringing up. You're bringing up good points. I don't know any entities personally that are not accepting big. I mean, a retailer, a retailer on the street, if they accept Bitcoin, they don't know about this stuff yet. I mean, they don't. It's something to take into consideration. Definitely, this blacklisting stuff, and
yeah, I think whitelisting addresses is another way that they're going to try to centralize Bitcoin. I don't mean to sidejack the convo, but I worry a lot about the potential that whitelisting Bitcoin addresses has by basically making KYC Bitcoin bank accounts.
I mean, we shall see how this all. I'm glad you brought up this topic because it was not scheduled, but it definitely generated some interest there. I'll leave it with Adam. I mean, you're a libertarian type of thinker. Any other thoughts on this coming from your viewpoint?
No, I agree with Alex, and there's really no reason for anybody to do any kind of business with a chain analysis company or any type of business like that. The fact that they're spying, like, it just makes me want to take all my coins and like just continuously coin join them, because just for the principle. I'm into Bitcoin because I'm into freedom and I'm into liberty, and for somebody to try to subvert that, I feel that they're more of an enemy to me than the government is actually at this point.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, that's a really good point to end this part of the conversation with.
Hold on, because they're the traitor.
Yeah.
The government's just doing what they do. They're the ones that are like selling you down the river.
That's a pound that like button, dude. And XAYA, my buddy in the chat sent $4.20. He said pound it. Well, thank you. I guess that's in honor of Ken being on the show today. So I want to move on to Alex. Your the project you were telling me about off air. What's that about? What is it?
Okay, so Bitcoin Times was it originally started off as a talk that I gave at a conference, at a blockchain conference, and my talk was "Blockchain is dead. The future is on Lightning," and the future is on Lightning and on Bitcoin, and that pissed a whole lot of people off. And then in the lead up to the talk, I wrote notes, and my half an hour talk ended up blowing out to 4 hours. So I turned the all the notes into a publication, and we called it the Bitcoin Times, and we kind of released it as, it was kind of like just some content for the exhibition. But then I got so much good feedback from it, and I passed it around to a couple of people like Dan Held and Nick Carter and stuff like that, and they absolutely loved it. So we turned it into something where basically the idea is that once or twice a year we're going to release a publication called the Bitcoin Times, which is full of long form essays and well thought out content on Bitcoin. So it'll have a maximum of 8 writers. It'll be done a maximum twice a year. And the idea is just timeless Bitcoin content. And edition 2, which is the first time I've done it with somebody else, is coming out probably next week. So we finished all the content in October. It's just been in design since then. And not to blow smoke up my ass, but I think this will be the most important bit of, or the most profound bit of Bitcoin content ever written. So you've got 8 writers. There's me, there's Robert Breedlove, there's Rory Highside, there's Huss McCook, there's Gigi, Dan Held, Nick Carter, and Connor Brown. So it's like 8 really, really good writers. And the theme is the theme of personal sovereignty. Like the article that I did in there was called "The Rise of the Individual, the Fall of the State." So I think it's just really, 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 it's going to be potent content. So look forward to releasing it. It'll be free online as a digital version for people to download, and then we're going to do like a limited edition physical print run, probably like 21,000 or something. and then and sell it for Bitcoin only. But yeah, and then look forward to doing another one next year.
What URL is there? A URL we'll be able to
Yeah,
pick
it is.
up?
So it's you don't do the www, so it's just the HTTP / bitcointimes.news.
Oh, Bitcoin. I'm writing it down. Bitcoin Times, and it'll be linked to below, guys.
Yeah, and
Bitcoin
it's got a Twitter handle as well. It's at Timeless Bitcoin.
at time. Everyone, right there at Timeless Big. Okay, so that hopefully I will add that below. And again, Alex has written things. I mean, that's how I found out about Alex a while ago. Got him on the show long ago now, because you've written some profound pieces. So people. Reading is fundamental. It's not just about listening to podcasts and watching us here. Read the stuff too. It's I always link to it below. Great to hear that Hass will be writing and Gigi. All these Nick Carter's all of them been on the show before. So I'm looking forward to that. That is good. And of course I will as soon as it's out, it will be mentioned on my show. All right. Just anything else about that, Alex, before we move on? I wanted to.
No, man. I mean, because I edited the whole thing, just made sure everything was all sweet. Like the articles are so good. Like everyone's pieces are like some of the best pieces that any of them have ever written. Like they're so.
Are you going to redistribute this on platforms like Steemit?
I've never used Steemit or anything like that. So what do you mean by redistribute?
Like just copy paste, the like you said, free digital version. The free digital version could be on Steemit, and you could like monetize it that way.
Okay, maybe. I mean, I don't know enough about that stuff.
Someone could do it for. I mean, that I know what Ken's
going at.
Well,
that's plagiarism at some point.
Yeah. If someone calls, I'm sure
I
someone
know it's called curating content.
No. But Ken, if you said to Alex, hey, dude, you've got this whole thing printed out here. Can I just reprint it on another platform so more people see it? I mean, I don't think you'd have an exact problem with that. If you ask permission, people usually are willing to let the content
publish its Discord.
Yeah, it's I mean, it'll be easily copy and pasteable, I'm sure, if to spread the word that way. Actually on that topic there. Well, first of all, Ken, I don't know which topic to go to next. The social media. You Ken are all over crypto social media. And on last show that we had on, Vlad was on the show talking about how many people have been demonetized by YouTube. And he had written an article in Bitcoin Magazine, again, linked to below last week's show, about how people can just, there are ways of using Lightning Network to raise funds for your, to get little contributions for your videos. I'm of the mind that you can just put your Bitcoin address right underneath your video or on your publication, like Alex's has. I'm sure at the end of Alex's publication, there's a Bitcoin address that says, donate here if you like what we're doing. That's what I like. But I mean, Ken, you go deeper here, man. You just talk about Steemit. You were mentioning the float thing before. So what's up with that?
Well, yeah, and not for nothing, but you don't even have a Bitcoin address on your screen being displayed. So it's
I do. Underneath
at the moment, right now.
No, underneath
screen.
Underneath my video. If people are watching this tape, I mean, I list all these my Bitcoin addresses
in the info.
In the info. Yeah. That's what I mean. That's the simplest thing you can do, right there.
Yeah, I always imagine it being like right on the screen though, like a company logo or something, like Fox or whatever,
Yeah, man, that's true. But Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, no fancy sets or graphics, but no, pound that like button. But I would be up for that, of course. I mean that's fine.
Check out Unstoppable Domains, and you can get AdamMeister.zil or whatever, and that could be your Bitcoin domain name, because I got one.
Well, I mean, that's taking it to a whole. I mean, that's okay. So there's something people can do, but for me, I keep it simple. I just there. If you want to,
I think simple is posting it on Float or Steam or Somi or other like.
Well, what is this Float? What is Float? I want to know. People want to know what this Float thing is.
Big shout out to Edward Kingsley and Aaron Nakamoto. They're my friends from Vegas. They designed this social media platform that basically utilizes crypto for content creators and for social media, moguls, I would say, like people that have the influencers or whatever. Like when you go onto Twitter and you have 10,000 followers and you do technical analysis, you can't easily monetize that as much as, you know, you would like to without selling yourself out to make sure you talk about TA on a specific exchange or some bullshit. But like on Float, you, Adam, could sign up and you could set up a subscription-based model like Patreon or like, you know, Kickstarter or whatever, where I can give you like $1 a month in Bitcoin or $10 a month in Bitcoin. And that gets me access to your premium content that you're posting that's very well thought out and things like that, that you would normally post on Twitter and get no ROI for the amount of effort you put in other than those artificial likes, you know? And it's all Bitcoin. So Float is float, FLOTE.app. And when you super chat somebody on there, unlike YouTube, that 420 we got from Zaya Zaza,
Yeah.
YouTube stole 30% of that before it ever gets to you. And it loses how much value on its way from then till now in the pending process, you know? So it's just Bitcoin on Float. So when you go to super chat or subscribe and do the reoccurring donations to a content creator, it's all Bitcoin and you get all of it except for, you know, the obvious transaction fees.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad they built it on Bitcoin, or they're using Bitcoin.
Yeah,
and
only Bitcoin too. Yeah,
I've heard of that. And I actually meant to contact that Kingsley dude. Well, Ken, you actually are. I'm going to let you do a double header in talking here because you got to get out of here at 3:00. You're limited, but we can stick around. You wanted to mention that Cointelegraph article about Microsoft announces token collectibles on Ethereum blockchain. I'm skeptical of things like that, but you wanted to mention that.
I just think it's an interesting proof of concept that this didn't cost nothing. They put effort and resource into it. They had to put manpower and that costs money. So they invested in Ethereum in a sense in producing these. And I think that this is just a beta test of the technology at hand where they, you know, Microsoft is huge gaming platform, man, not just, you know, whatever, but they're only using the NFTs that they created for rewarding the developers in their ecosystem based on like how well they've contributed to the community by contributions of like charity or like noble deeds of honor, and they get an NFT that could be traded on an exchange at value or something to that effect, which is really cool. But I think that that's just them in-house beta testing this technology, seeing how it works, and then I would assume reasonably apply that to their gaming side of their business, what Microsoft does with their skins, in-game content, loot boxes, things like that. Like right now, I know that Engine helped them build this, and they're working with Samsung. So you have Microsoft, Samsung, Engine, all of these big players working in the NFT, you know, market, looking at these non-fungible tokens. And maybe you're right, it's a gimmick use case, but it's definitely, I think, stirring the pot that could potentially cook something interesting up.
Okay, you got a positive spin on the whole thing. I like that. I like that. Whenever I hear about tokens, tradable tokens, I'm just like, oh, it's such a gimmick. Oh my god.
Oh, dude, they're pet rocks with googly eyes for sure, but I'll buy those because even Beanie Babies gain value.
And that's the thing. I say innovate, people. Innovate. Just because I don't like unique tokens on Ethereum, it doesn't mean they can't do it. I don't want to destroy. Maybe
I have my own collectible on Engine. I am tokenized as an NFT, so I could send you one. You just got to get the wallet.
Another thing, Ken's got his own coin on Steam it now too. On Steam.
Ken with two ends. But there's only 420 of them.
Yeah. So you you dabble in many different things. Well, someone in the you know, we're talking about altcoins here. Let's go back to someone asked the Lightning Network question. Can you gents discuss the benefits of Lightning on exchanges? Well, and I forgot to bring this up or to write it down as a topic. That was it. One of them was it Bitfinex. Now you can do Lightning exchanges. They
just made it possible to buy things on Bitrefill and stuff like that with Lightning.
But the exchanges now, the Bitfinex or somebody like that is accepting Lightning. You can use the Lightning Network on there.
I definitely could talk on it, but I feel like I talked
no. Did you guys know about that at all? Lightning? Do you guys have any Lightning Network comments in general? Because people usually want to hear about that. But that exchange announcement, I know I don't have the specific.
I have an interesting take after these guys.
Yeah. Do you guys have Lightning things to say?
My experience with Lightning is so limited, and it's basically just to send tips back and forth to other Bitcoiners.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never actually bought anything with Lightning ever. The only thing I've ever bought was with on-chain transactions.
Yeah, this is actually a good point. It's early on in Lightning.
Yeah.
I've never bought anything.
Oh, yeah.
I never either. Alex, any Lightning from you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole point of it is to be able to fund and withdraw from exchanges really quickly, and to also do it without, getting fee congestion, which, at some point in time is going to come again. So, I mean, it's a preparation thing at this point more than anything else. So, from what I understand, Bitfinex partnered with Bitrefill to do something with it. But I didn't, I haven't looked into it much, so I don't know.
Yeah, actually, that's good. The way you described is perfect. It's a way to prepare for the future congestion. I think that is wise. Before, everyone. Yeah, that's a good way of summing it up. Ken, you said you were going to say something different.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a very interesting, positive, unexpected result of Lightning on exchanges, and that's going to be large bag holding. In order to facilitate a transaction on the Lightning Network, the channel has to hold more than what is being transacted. So these exchanges are going to have to hold a shit ton of Bitcoin in a channel. That's hodled up. That's going to be there, and it's you can verify it. You can see how much they're holding. I think it's interesting, and it's also going to, I think, intrigue institutions like banks in creating Lightning channels that have large amounts that can facilitate huge transactions on the Lightning Network. If you wanted to send 2 million Bitcoin on the Lightning, you need 2 million in a Satoshi in the channel to facilitate it. So, and you can profit from these microtransactions in that sense on the Lightning Network. So they're incentivized to participate in some way. And I think this is a great way to see Bitcoin being held long-term for that use case, and then incentivizing large, institutions that have a lot of capital to just hold it as a means to monetize it for the transaction fees to facilitate for the exchange, because exchanges are going to have to use specific Lightning channels, and they're probably going to become bank-operated channels.
Dude, that was a great take on the future of. I hadn't thought about all that stuff in terms of the exchange side of the Lightning Network. There, good job.
Should smoke sometime, bro.
Yeah,
he's Galaxy Brain right now.
Yeah, man, pound that like button for bringing that up. All right, dudes. Did you anything else? Did anyone want to add to Ken's talk right there? All right, cool. We will move on. Ken, I don't know if you really got a jet, do you, man?
Yeah, I gotta go, guys. I'm gonna be over on the Dash podcast at 3 p.m. So I guess I'll be right on time for that if I head out now, man. I'm sorry,
dude, man. Dash is gone.
Why would you drop a Bitcoin podcast for a shitcoin podcast, man? Come on.
Commitment. Go.
He's real skin in the game.
Yeah, a little bit, literally. No, I'm a fan of crypto, man. It doesn't matter what team wins as long as Team Crypto wins and Fiat loses. That's my whole spiel. But all right, guys, much love. Have a day.
All right, see you, Ken. We're sticking here. So yeah, Dash is go from Amanda Johnson to Ken Bozak, man. All right, good. So let's move. We're gonna talk about something that we don't really talk about. Adam's got a really interesting feed out there now. Twitter feed. Now we've had the Bitcoin Rabbi on here before. He's brought up a little bit of religion and Bitcoin, but Adam, you've got a couple tweets about that too. So do you have anything you wanted to share with the public about all that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that brought me to Bitcoin is the fact of how good the platform is. Like the fact that it allows people to transact without. Like it prevents them from cheating each other, or at least cheating each other from a central bank kind of standpoint. And so my interest in it is not just like to get rich, although that was my initial thing. Like the reason why I got into cryptocurrency, and I was mentioning earlier, first thing I ever bought was Ethereum. And I was just I doubled my money in Ethereum. I thought I was the smartest guy in the world. and then I was like, and then I actually lost a bunch of money, you know, with the roulette wheel, the crypto roulette wheel. And I started to actually realize like what Bitcoin was good for. And it goes way, way deeper than just payments and buying coffee and things like that. It really allows people to get back to creating really civilization and getting back to storing their wealth, which is a good thing. So people say like, oh, hoarding money or, you know, trying to accumulate wealth, that's a bad thing. That's a greedy thing. That's actually the way that people are able to provide for their families. They're able to build things that last and have value. If you're a good person with money, you can do a whole lot of good with it instead of like letting the government take it from you and start foreign wars for no reason. So I see Bitcoin as fundamentally changing. If we can get this thing off the ground, it's really going to fundamentally change the way humans interact. And I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't said it before, but just you mentioned the Bitcoin rabbi. I mean, him get along real well. I'm a Christian. I'm an elder in a Presbyterian church, PCA church. So my view is that anything that's good, true, or beautiful is something positive. And I think Bitcoin actually ticks all those boxes. Like, not only is it true, like, you know, you're verifying transactions and you're making sure nobody's cheating you. It's good because it allows people to transact around the world without theft, without stealing. And it's actually beautiful because the protocol itself is just like, people try to say, you know, oh, it's the next internet, you know, or it's, you know, as good as the internet. In my opinion, Bitcoin is an invention that's actually better than the internet, because the internet really, if you think about it, is just a glorified telegraph, right? I mean, you're just getting information from one person to the next with a string in between. But this solved the double spend problem. It solved triple entry accounting, Byzantine generals problem. Like, it actually did something new that we had not had before. And so from that perspective, like when I put all those things together, it's almost it really is a religious experience for me. It's like an angel. So Satoshi was an angel, came down and like blessed us with manna from heaven. I don't even know how else to explain it.
No, good Old Testament reference there with the manna. Alex, your thoughts, deep thoughts on Bitcoin from you?
As what, as a religion, or
not as a religion? No, that's not your side of things. As anything, I mean, he brought up, you know, it's true. I mean, yeah, just floor is yours. You always have something profound to say.
The ethics of it. What do you think about the ethics of Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, I was on the show with Marty and Matt Odell a little while ago, and I kind of said, you know, Bitcoin's the first thing that we've had, or the first entity that is actually a prospering of the commons. So throughout history, we've always had a tragedy of the commons when everyone sort of comes into something that they all have access to, and working in their own self-interest, we end up depleting the resource. Whereas with Bitcoin, in the process of working in our own self-interest, we end up strengthening the common resource, which that, like, I actually can't think of anywhere else where that's happened. You know, maybe the internet also qualifies as prospering of commons in some sense, because it's also, you know, a network effect, and in the process of working, you know, in our own self-interest, doing our own content, doing our own, you know, self-promotion, we sort of broaden the content base on the internet. But Bitcoin's such a more economically powerful network than what the internet is. So I do agree with your notion that you mentioned, Adam, that Bitcoin's bigger than the internet. I think it will be. I think, you know, if we look on a long enough time horizon, I think the internet was sort of like the first step to allowing something like Bitcoin to proliferate. You know, they're very similar. I just released a piece. It was an excerpt from Bitcoin Times Edition 1, which was called, you know, Bitcoin and the internet, like a high level comparison. I can drop the link in here later if you like, but
yeah, that'd be great.
I talk about how you know what the similarities are between the two. And, you know, one of the things I mention is the fact that, you know, when we had communications before, it was really, you know, this point-to-point communications, whereas what the internet did is, or actually, sorry, I'll backpedal. We had point-to-point communications, and the telcos and the powers that be were thinking that we were going to have this new information superhighway, which was still, from a topological perspective, going to be a point-to-point type of thing. So, they went around saying, oh, this new information superhighway is going to have video calls, blah, blah, blah. And all of these corporates were trying to build something with that frame of reference. Now, what the internet did was it reinvented global communication by not creating a point-to-point topology. It created a mesh network where, every point was effectively, you could get to any other point through any other point. And this network, all it did was it routed dumb packets of data. There was no smarts in the actual data that was being transferred. It was just ones and zeros. And then it allowed companies, businesses, entrepreneurs, or whoever else to abstract concepts on top of it. So if we look at Bitcoin is also a dumb network that is not point-to-point like the banks are today. It is this flat topological network where money is routed, really dumb data effectively. Bitcoin doesn't know, who you are, what you are, how much is it doesn't care about any of that stuff. All it's doing is it's routing data on this similar flat censorship resistant type network so that money can get from A to B irrespective of the path that it needs to go. Now that's not entirely, technically correct, but from a conceptual standpoint, they're both very similar. And the internet reinvented communication by doing something new. Bitcoin is reinventing money by doing something completely different to what we had before. And I think that is a very profound concept. Is that profound enough for you, Adam?
Yes, I was about to say profound. Pound that like button. Pound that profound like button. No, I like that. Your feedback on that, Adam, if any.
Yeah, that's why it's supremely repugnant to me when someone is trying, like chain analysis company, trying to unscramble the egg as far as the routing of Bitcoin and things like that. And also in a similar way, people trying, Facebook or Twitter or other social media networks or ISPs trying to censor various types of ideas that people don't like. I really do like the idea of communication being free and open, as well as the transmission of money being free and open. And we're going to let the best ideas win out in the end. And instead of having this, especially a government censorship of it. Now, if Facebook wants to censor an idea that it doesn't like and everybody wants to promote that idea, they move to a different network and everything works great. The issue is when the government comes in, and usually that's the way these types of things work. We're trying to censor things in the public interest because we want everybody to, we talked about equality a few minutes ago. We want everybody to have equality or equal time or whatever. I'm of the opinion that I don't want government involved at all in Bitcoin at all in any way, shape, or form. I like the fact that the exchanges are the Wild West. I like the fact that I like when there's no money transmission licenses. I want Bitcoin to be as free as humanly possible.
100% agree with you, man.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Well, that was profound from both guests. So I'll leave you two with final thoughts as we're approaching the end of the show. Alex, anything you want to promote? Anything that was left off? Anything you want to say? Anything? Your floor is yours.
I just think if anyone hasn't read the Bitcoin Times yet, 100% check it out. Some of what I just discussed there is in there. It's a really cool long piece. You can read it over a weekend, and then definitely keep an eye out for edition 2. It'll be so good. And then obviously if you're in Australia, download Amber and just start putting away some Bitcoin. Don't let your own stupidity and thinking that you can time the market or whatever get in the way. Just DCA while you're doing it. If you've got a stash, great, but just continue to accumulate. I think that's the smartest thing you can do. So yeah, and Adam, thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it. Dude, actually, just out of curiosity, that dude that was on before, his name was Ken, right?
Yeah, Ken Bozak, baby. Yeah.
His name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's big on the North American side of things. I will tell you that. But everyone's got different people. You're Australian. Ken is well. I know Haas,
sounds familiar. Anyway,
Haas
whatever.
knows Ken. Definitely knows Ken. Haas and Ken know each other. Definitely.
Yeah,
They've been on the show together. Maybe that's where you stumbled upon Ken before. But no, he's a good. Ken dips his fingers in a lot of different coins. I mean, I'm not going to agree.
So in other words, he's a bit of a shitcoiner, is he?
Well, I don't want to say that because he does love Bitcoin. I mean, he said it. He wants crypto to win. I mean, that's his take. He's a wild man. He loves to go to events all over the place. So a lot of people, everyone's different. I love it. I bring together all sorts. We got Australia in the house. We got Ken in the house. We got a religious man in the house. We got everything here. Pound it, baby.
Cool.
Adam, what are your final thoughts?
I have nothing specific to promote. I'm a hodler of last resort. I'm just spouting stupid information on Twitter. I'm interested to read the Bitcoin Times. That a lot of the authors that he mentioned there. I'm going to promote that for you.
Thanks, man.
Alex. I'll definitely go check it out. Somebody in the chat mentioned the idea of we need easy to digest things for the masses, and I'm all for that. But I think that we need to, as humans in a society, like stretch higher and do the best we can to tackle some hard things that are above our pay grade a little bit. So I'm really looking forward. Like when I hear that there's interesting, well-researched Bitcoin articles and stuff, I'm all for that. So I'm very happy for that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, reading is fundamental, people. It is, and I understand it too. People want easily digestible Twitter. You can learn from Twitter also, but there's sometimes you gotta read the articles. You can't just read. You can't just read the cliff notes. You got to read the articles. It helps you. It makes your hands stronger. And yeah, Alex is going to be is writing some deep stuff with his friends. But it's good. You need the deep stuff at times. So we definitely have both in this space. We got a lot of people on Twitter just shooting out one-liners. But we got this also. So thank you to both of my guests, and keep doing your content any way you guys can. Adam, you've been I loved your debut here. He shall return. Adam will be back here. Of course, Alex will. I think this is Alex's third time on the show, and Ken's been on plenty of times. He'll be back also. But I hope all you guys enjoyed. I don't know if a lot of you know who Adam is. Now you do. He's awesome, man. So
thanks, buddy.
I'm also Adam. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember, people, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. Check out all the links below. I'm going to add the links that Alex discussed and anything that's not there right now, so you can learn more. It's not just about watching the video. You gotta read the links, click on the links, and read the supplemental material. Also, we do This Week in Bitcoin every Friday here on the Bitcoin Meister channel. I do a new show every day. DisruptMeister.com. I got like over 1,500 videos there. Anyway, well, I'll be back on Saturday night. Until then, let me wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. We will see you Saturday night. And of course, This Week in Bitcoin will be here next Friday. Who knows who will be on? I will be in Tucson, Arizona, though, because I'm always on the move. In motion, people. Pound that like button. See you later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.